hours.
I don't know what it is.
Public comment
No, not for me.
from the visitors?
No,
No?
maybe a little later, but not.
No? Well, all right. We don't have our secretary here, but we need to approve the minutes of last meeting. Do you have any corrections?
I know.
I do not.
No, we just, you second it?
I said.
Okay, all in favor. And so we're ready for Kathy.
Okay, Patty.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone.
Hi.
All right, so we have October warrants that total $47,218.56, and that includes the district liability policy. The total per payroll is $16,626.33. This includes Chief Carlson's salary of $5,175 and Assistant Chief Shields' pay of $3,083.33. And there was one event for each of the commissioners and the secretary. The total payout for the volunteers, warrants included, is $11,160. And I believe you have the September financial statement for your review. So today we are looking for a motion to approve the warrants and payroll for October.
A motion for that?
Yes, I move that we accept and pay warrants in the amount of $47,218.56, and that we pay the payroll of $16,626.33.
We have a second.
I second that.
Any discussion? No? Can I ask a question about the credit card? What makes up the credit card?
Sure, that's on Patty's report here, so it'll be warrants over. What's the credit card on the U.S. Bank? The only two things that were over $1,000 was PSE and Bergen and Company.
Oh, okay.
And Bergen and Company was clothing for the district.
For the district, okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Any other comments? If not, all in favor? Taken care of, thank you. Anything else from you, Patty?
Yes, I just have a real quick budget update, and that is as of September 30th, 2019, there is 38.84% left in the budget, compared to last year at the same time was 31.4%. And that should net out real close as soon as the warrant for the district liability insurance is paid this month. It'll bring it back to pretty close where it usually is within a couple percent.
Okay. Anything else?
I believe that's all I have. Unless anyone has any questions.
Thank you.
It's okay.
Yes, thank you.
Have a great day. Thank you.
Thanks, and I'll see you in a couple weeks at the budget meeting.
Yeah, that's going to be, just to remind everybody, that's on the 29th, correct?
29th, I believe, at 4 p.m., usual meeting time, yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Correspondence?
We had a thank you. It was a phone call, and it was just thank you for services that we partaked in for a community member. So they wanted to thank us for the care and the compassion.
Thank you. So we're ready for your report?
Chief's report for September 2019 for the month of August 2019. Well, this is actually October, isn't it?
September.
It's October.
September's stuff.
It's September stuff, so sorry. I'll have to rearrange that when I put it online.
Okay.
So it should say October 2019 for September of
Right.
2019.
Yeah.
Sorry, I apologize for that. Point of information, Haunted House is coming up on October 26th, and that's from 11 to 3. It's a big event for us. This year, we're going to be building out Amazing here, which is something that'll be easier for us to dismantle, put back up in the coming years as well. But we hope we have a great turnout with all the adults that want to dress up or not dress up and come through the Haunted House this year. You might have to crawl through the tube first to even get into the Haunted House this year. We're not sure.
Beg your pardon.
Make that, yeah. But we're gonna have some fun building a maze here coming up in the next couple weeks. Memorial Day celebration activities is November 11th, so I want to mention that now. We're also having a row-a-thon for Veterans Day and Remembrance Day, or Memorial Day, I should say, for the Canadians. And the row-a-thon is, we're going to start at midnight. It's the rowers for the gym. And we're going to start at midnight on the 10th, so the morning of the 11th, that's 0001 time frame. And we're going to row for 24 hours. So we're going to have people that have to keep one row machine going for 24 hours straight. And that's going to raise money to give to Wounded Warriors Project in the United States, and then the Honor House in Canada, which helps take care of people that have PTSD and so forth. So we're going to have people, there's a sign-up list if any of you would like to sign up to row over here. And I'm rowing at 1,500 hours, so 3 o'clock on the 11th. I'll be doing it for an hour. I'll be rowing pretty slowly during that hour, just to keep the machine moving, I suspect. But we have some really good sponsors, and one of our firefighters, Pearson, is in charge of it. He is a vet from the UK. He was actually shot in the leg during one of his deployments, and he's in charge of it this year for the row-a-thon. So it's our first year trying it, but I hope that we have a good turnout. We'll have 3 other machines, I think, 2 or 3 other machines that the public can just come in, put a donation in one of our booths, and they can sit there and row with us if they would like to join in. But we'll be rowing during the social event that we have here, the memorial event. And we'll have a rower out there, and they'll be rowing during that event, but we'll all stop at the time frame that we honor our veterans, and we'll stand up and honor that, and then they'll be right back down and rowing again. So we hope to have some outsiders and public participation in that to bring recognition to the vets and also the post-traumatic stress disorders that they have.
So if someone doesn't want to row,
They can just
make a donation.
They can make a donation, sure, absolutely.
And since you invited all of us to row, you will have medical attention available.
We'll have one of our new cardiac monitors standing by for all of you, if you want to row. And 10 minutes, you can row for 10 minutes, but I can assign an EMT to be directly next to you if you would like that. And
That's reassuring.
process.
Let's not go there.
Yeah, all the fire trucks, all the engines, engine 58, 5802, and 5803 are going in for maintenance this month. So you're going to see some of them missing throughout the month as we get them exchanged out in Abbotsford with Safe Tech to get the yearly maintenance done. I don't think there's anything else I want to add to that at this point for point of information. There's nothing to report. Just to remind, we had engine 5803 had brake issues last month, and so we got those fixed, and now it's doing fine. Haven't really had any member changes. We still have 46 on the roster, 30 Canadian, 9 Point Roberts, 7 county, 5 paramedics, 10 EMTs, of which 5 are advanced EMTs, 3 ambassadors, and 37 firefighters within that 46. Volunteer hours for the month of September, it was 2,877. Volunteer payroll for the month of September, if all were getting paid, is 12,175. Combined chief hours, I had 166 hours. 15 of those hours were spent in Phoenix in class with Blue Card Command Systems, it has its own management. Assistant Chief Shields worked 117.5, total of 283.5 hours amongst us. In the month of September, we had 34 calls, 7 EMS calls. We had 1 transport down to St. Joseph's from this agency, 1 Airlift Northwest transfer, and we had 5 no transports. We had 16 community paramedic visits. We had 1 agency assist with law enforcement, and we had 3 public service. We had seven fire classifications. We had 1 permitted outdoor burn, 2 illegal outdoor burns, 1 false alarm. We had a water problem inside of a home, and we had 2 water rescue calls. And that concludes my report for September 2019.
Thank you. Any questions? No. Good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We have no unfinished business that I'm aware of. Right? No?
No.
How about new business? Boy, we're dull today.
Patty and I are going to get together on the 15th of this month to do our preliminary budgets look to see how we're doing, so we can put together the presentation that we'll have at the budget workshop on November 29th. And then, go ahead.
Is there anything that you want us to do ahead of time?
No. So it's really amongst Patty and myself to look at where the divisions are and see if we need to make adjustments. The big adjustment for next year is going to be the audit, and that's going to be probably $10,000 to $15,000 worth of an audit. And so that's going to have to come from certain divisions, certain areas. So we'll have to look at that. We'll discuss it when we have the budget workshop on the 29th, and then the budget will be approved with any changes. And if any changes need to be conducted at the November meeting, we can do those at the meeting, and then we can approve that budget for 2020, if all commissioners agree. So that's really it.
Good. You get one last chance.
There you go. Appreciate it. Chief, question for you, this has to do with the budget for the warrants. Regarding the insurance invoice,
Right.
isn't that late that we're paying? I mean,
They didn't get us the invoice. Yeah, they didn't get us
is
the
it simply
invoice.
because we don't get the invoice, or is there a dispute or anything?
No, it was earlier this month. We should have had it, in my mind, we should have had it last month.
Yeah.
But it's right around the September, October is the months that we've paid it in the past. So we're not late, but it was no issue with us concerning any
No,
disputes.
I didn't think so, but I remember the previous years.
Yeah, I had sent a couple emails and talked to Tony at least once about the invoice because I hadn't received it yet. And then Sheila finally got me the invoice from Kelly Insurance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Next, I have one more. Chief, you went to Phoenix,
I did.
okay? Who pays for your hotel, and who pays for your course, and who pays for your airfare?
So this year, the organization paid for both. So
the hotel
they
and
paid for the hotel and my airfare this year. Last year, I paid for, if I remember correctly, I know I paid for one of them. I either paid for my hotel or I paid for my airfare. I believe I paid for my airfare last year, and the district paid for, or earlier in June, I should say. June was when I went previously. The district paid for my hotel, but I paid for my airfare, if I remember correctly. I normally go back and forth.
Right, okay, well, that's good to know. And that is being the case, you usually pay for your airfare.
I usually pay for one or the other, and then I have the district cover both.
Okay.
So it's not that the district's covering everything. The training itself is free of charge because I'm an instructor for them. So it's strictly for instructors, and they do not charge us anything for that training.
Okay, have you asked the board in previous times, whether, the last couple of years, whether you will get paid for both airfare and transportation?
No, I've taken it upon, and I believe it's my responsibility. I guess I feel I need to pay for some things. That's just me, and I either pay for one or the other, and that's to help save the budget and to provide monies for other training opportunities for either John as my assistant chief or actually training opportunities for the volunteers as well. So in the years past, I've done this ever since I became the chief in 2012, that I've paid for something when I've traveled. And,
Well, I remember we brought that up once in 2012 or 13.
yeah, and when I go to the International Association of Fire Chiefs Conference, I did not go this year because I had my blue card event. I didn't go to both this year. My IFC or FDIC, which are international conferences for firefighters and fire chiefs, I may go to FDIC next year, but I still need to work out going to my blue card CEs at least twice next year, if not 3 times next year, to get my instructor education. So I can come back here and offer the education at the level they should be receiving it. And I just look at the budget. I look at the budget and see how much we have in a line item and the division and everything else. And I make the choice. I think it's behooved upon me that I do pay for some things myself. Just that's the way I'm built. I guess that was my upbringing. Not just to take advantage of things, but to also pay for things myself. And to provide that advantage back to the community, even though I paid for it. So I guess it's the way I'm built.
I understand you can't build a district for a $100 sushi plate.
Yeah, there's no reimbursements for
No,
my oysters.
but I'm kind of joking here. Because I know you love sushi and you like to try it all over the world.
Yeah.
But is it safe for me to assume that the district pays for your travel and your airfare from now on? Are you making that a policy, or is the board making that a
No,
policy?
that would be a bad assumption.
If not, what is the board doing about that?
The board, they can choose to do whatever they want to do or direct me to, that I don't have any expenditures when I travel. But I still believe what I'm doing is a just way to do it. That I'm helping the district out with some of my travels and stuff like that, and I think that's the just way to do it, to a degree. There is a per diem per day that I've asked for when I have traveled, and I think that's around $50 per day or something like that. But I did not ask for that either. I didn't ask for that in my second trip to Phoenix this time, but that is allowed to me by contract, and that I can get paid per diem versus turning receipts. So I'd have to ask Patty how many per diems I've asked for in the past, but it's only when I travel when I do that. And I know I haven't in some cases, but I have in others.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think it's pretty just. I think some people use the word fair, but I use the word just. And to the community and to the taxpayers and to this district and to everybody else that's involved in the way I've decided to pay for things myself or be reimbursed for certain things as well. This last trip, I was reimbursed for my airfare and the district covered the hotel. And there may have been one other time that I did that, but I think that's pretty rare that I ever do that. Yeah.
About the blue card system.
It's everything you see on the walls. So, blue card is hazard zone management. It is considered the top hazard zone management or fire ground operational training program in the nation. NIOSH, the National Institutes of Safety, Occupational Safety and Health, I think is what it stands for, is now utilizing the blue card templates for line of duty deaths. And that would be and also the Mayday template that they have. So when a firefighter has to call a Mayday, how a Mayday is functionally an operation handled on scene, and the processes that we go through to try to rescue one of our own when that Mayday goes out. I'm the first agency in Whatcom County to have gone to blue card, but I still have to use ITAC as well, which are the darker things that you see on the wall. ITAC is the Whatcom County operational manual perspective. So we have to, when we get engine 61 or North Whatcom or any engine or assistance from the county, we have to make sure that we're using the language they understand for their radio operational. And we use a little bit different language under blue card, but it's much more efficient. Much more efficient. It allows my office officers to actually have the best training offered now in the United States and probably internationally as well, because Blue Card is used around the world with different agencies. I think there's over 2,700 fire departments in the United States that currently use that. Charleston, South Carolina, was it South Carolina? Not North. Charleston, South Carolina. They had a warehouse fire a few years back and they lost 9 firefighters in that warehouse fire. And that's something in my mind that should never have happened, right? Because when the fire grows that big, at that point you're just trying to save stuff. There was no life safety issues inside. We became the life safety inside that house, inside that commercial structure, right? And sometimes we are the only life safety inside of homes because there's nobody else inside to rescue. So we have to ask ourselves, why are we spending time inside of a commercial structure that's already insurance owned? The only people that care about that structure, because everything's lost. Smoke damaged, heat damaged, everything's lost inside that structure. Why are we losing firefighters for a building, for nails, for mortar, those types of things? Well, they killed, that command structure ended up killing 9 firefighters. And Charleston went to Blue Card after that incident to confirm and to make sure that never happens again. Because their command structure, how they handled the hazard zone at that time, obviously was not sufficient and it ended up killing 9 of their firefighters. So after that, they made the decision to go to the Blue Card standard, and they are a Blue Card agency now. But it took killing 9 firefighters to do that. So my whole purpose of going to Blue Card, and I need to mention, I guess, the Tognetti Foundation, the John Tognetti Foundation, just gave us a $5,000 donation. Last year they gave us $4,000 for Blue Card. This year they gave us $5,000 to continue this training. And that's a donation, and it's gone into the Volunteer Firefighters Association. And that'll be turned around to train more incident commanders into the Blue Card standard. So the Blue Card standard is all about making sure that we have a round-trip ticket, that we show up at work in the morning and we go home the next morning or whenever after the call. My volunteer firefighters get to go home, and they haven't been severely injured or they haven't been killed during that incident. That's why I have it in place. There's nothing better out there. And now the Department of Justice is looking at utilizing it as well. NIOSH is the leading investigator when it comes to line-of-duty deaths. They're publishing and giving Blue Card credit and pushing people in a way towards having a foundational hazard zone management training within their own organizations. If it's not Blue Card, getting to different levels in hazard zone management. So that's what it is. It takes $325 to train one person. So the donation that we have is, I can't say enough about that donation, because it'll take, to train 10 more people, it'll take about $3,500. I do pay a yearly fee to be a training center, to have permission to train our own people in Blue Card, and I am that instructor. I went to Phoenix, as you know, a year or 2 ago and got my instructorship in that. But my traveling down to Phoenix is to become better. To become better so I can become better for the people that I expect, to listen to what I'm asking them to do and to understand what I'm asking them to do. I invite all of you, November 23rd, we're going to have a Blue Card Command Day here. So every other month I have 8 hours that we spend only concentrating on command functions and going over command decisions with my volunteer officers. But November 23rd, I have a special guest. His name is Joe Williamson, and he's coming up from Texas. He's a lead Blue Card instructor for the organization. And he'll be coming up here. Hopefully I'm going to be inviting North Vancouver. So the District of North Vancouver and the City of North Vancouver are also Blue Card agencies in the Lower Mainland. They are the first to go to Blue Card as well. I'm hoping that they'll send their people and their chiefs over here to partake in that, because having a Blue Card instructor being able to come here to where I can gain that education, that I can listen to him or her, and saying what they're saying and how they're presenting the material and those types of things. It's very important to me to be able to turn that around and give that to my people. So Joe will be our special guest in November, and he's been here once before. He helped me put on my first Blue Card events for the current certified members, And I'm really excited to have him here. He'll be staying at our home. Yeah, and he has a nice Texas accent.
I have two comments.
Yeah,
One, I think it's not only a responsibility that we provide you with the opportunity for continuing education, because we expect you to be able to perform at the level that you want to be able to perform. And we need to recognize how much you do and how much that means to our community. So that, to me, is very important. The second comment is one of the firefighters was commenting to me how much he had learned and how much he was learning from you about Blue Card and how excited he was. And I thought, you have created that encouragement for them to learn and to be more effective, and that we couldn't ask for anything better. So I thank you for that.
thank you. One of my previous members, Brandon Croker, he went to Abbotsford Fire, he got hired there. Again, we're a farm team for the Lower Mainland. When it comes to firefighters, we lose 10 to 15 a year on average. Our volunteers even picked up, hired as a career firefighter in the Lower Mainland. We have a great name. We have a great reputation in the Lower Mainland, so I'm very proud of that. But Brandon Croker, he was the nozzleman on a strip mall fire that just happened in Abbotsford just within the last week. And he said it was almost identical to the strip mall simulations that we run in Blue Card. So he said, I wasn't nervous about anything. It's set up basically just like Blue Card. And Abbotsford is not a Blue Card agency. They say similar things. But I was very proud to hear that, very proud of him, because it was one of his first major fires, and he got to spray the water. So that's big for us firefighters, is that we get to spray the water once in a while on fires. So I was very proud and happy to hear about that. But I'm the first to go. Mount Vernon Fire is Blue Card. Skagit, they have Blue Card agencies in Skagit, all down in the Puget Sound area. And I'm very proud to have the ability to bring it to this agency.
We're very lucky.
Hopefully help this county move into a direction. Because we're at in some agencies, we're at a point that we're going to end up hurting someone really bad with some of the command decisions that are being made and the lack of experience that the command officers have in real incidents. And to be able to have simulations and tabletops and stuff like that, and to be leading this county, right, in making that change over, and understanding that I needed help in command function, and if I need that help, I needed to go to somewhere that could provide that to me. And is it a cost? Yes, it's a cost, but it's a cost that will never be overcome if we never lose a life, right? Yeah, it's in favor of not hurting one of my people. So they deserve to come in and go home.
Sounds very similar to the wildland fires, red card system.
Yeah, the structure, and it's always changing. You know, new studies are coming out from underwriting laboratories, UL. UL studies fire behavior, and they give us a whole bunch of studies as well that we can learn from. Because buildings are burning faster and hotter today because of all the synthetics versus the homes of the past, right? Where you had cotton, now we have synthetics in the places of it. Those, when they catch fire, they burn hotter, they burn quicker, more lethal smoke within that as well. So that's why we're seeing an uptick in cancers, I believe, as well, because of the synthetic materials. And sometimes we breathe those in or they absorb through our skin. So that's where the big cancer push is too in the fire service, to try to help our brothers and sisters not die from one of the cancers that are prevailing on the firefighters these days. But I would like to invite you to meet Joe, at least when he's here, and not to set in on his teaching. When he's here teaching the 23rd of November, that's a Saturday, I believe. So.
Well, I look forward to the opportunity. Is it possible to just quietly observe the training?
Yeah, observing, the training and his teaching that day. And I'll be co-teaching with him, so I'll be teaching some areas as well. But my goal is to be a participant as well, to listen to him and to learn from him, because he's extremely exceptional. He's exceptional as an instructor, very good at getting the information across and bringing the latest, studies and statistical changes that we're seeing. Because a lot of the new generation of firefighters, they like studies, right? They like statistics, but sometimes it's only the statistics that they read versus the statistics that I read, right? We need to find a common ground, right? Because it's all about, it's not about going into a structure when nobody's there, right? And then that structure collapses on the firefighter when we knew nobody was inside. That some people have a mindset that, well, it's always our responsibility to clear the structure regardless. So we have a family of 4 setting outside. When we show up and they say, everybody's out, no one's in, please don't risk yourself. But some mind frames that I'm working around, they'll still risk themselves and go into that structure. And even though they know someone's not there, their mindset is, well, maybe they forgot about little Johnny that was spending the night, and little Johnny's still inside the house, even though the family of 4 is saying nobody's inside the house, right? So I hope it doesn't take a tragedy for some of these individuals to learn, right? I've been through a lot of fire in my career, but a lot of fire to me is nothing compared to firefighters in New York, right? That see hundreds beyond the fires that I've had, right, in their career, or LA, or their larger cities. I mean, my experience is my experience, right? And that's what I can live off of, and I've been in some hairy situations, and I just don't want to lose any more brothers and sisters. Yeah.
What time is it? 23rd.
We'll probably start at 9 o'clock. Yeah, and it'll go all day. So it'll be an all-day event, because he's going to be providing some lectures to us, but we're also going to be running some scenarios that day. So you'll be able to see our command function at work if you want to come in and observe during that day. Yeah. But I plan on having Joe out, or at least a blue card lead instructor, because there's a couple down in Olympia. David Hagg is a blue card lead instructor down in Olympia, but he couldn't make it. So Joe and I have established a really good relationship, so maybe twice a year I'd have a lead instructor come in and provide that, higher level of educational opportunity for myself and for my members.
Any more comments? Anything else? I would entertain an emotion for adjournment then.
I second it.
We are adjourned at 14:32.
4:33. 4:32.